go right ahead. Well, hello, everyone, and we bring you greetings to all of our Birmingham Bible Church members to BBC Worldwide. We'd like to welcome you. If you are watching us via Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Instagram, we want to welcome you, welcome you, welcome you. And I know a lot of you are traveling, you're attending reunions, you are enjoying your families, but we just want you all to please be safe as you're out doing what you do, enjoying this good weather, enjoying the sun. Well, it is Winning Wednesday here at Birmingham Bible Church, and as always at 12 noon, we would like to bring you valuable information to encourage you, to uplift you, to educate you. And so, of course, I want you to share this information with someone that you know. Of course, on Facebook, you can just instantly share it, but you can share it with family. You can text it to somebody because this segment is for all those who either want to be entrepreneurs or who are already entrepreneurs. And so I know how it is. People start giving you advice about, you the girl, you need to start your business. You know, you make a great sweet potato pie, and that's great. That's great. And people start businesses for different reasons because they have a good product. They're tired of working other people. They want to be their own boss, or they want to help people. But as many of you already know, that having a business is not easy. It's not. It sounds great, but it's not easy. Sometimes it could be stressful. There's a lot of commitment that goes into it. And then, to be honest, half of businesses within the first 5 years do fail, according to a study that was done in 2020. And so, of course, we wanted to bring someone who has experienced it all, who has a lot of knowledge, a vast wealth of knowledge. And so today we have Lance Jones. He is not only a business owner, but he is a family member of Pastor Mason. And so we're going to have a little discussion today about the ins and outs of having a business, the ups and downs, the pros and cons, if you will, of just owning that. And so, of course, all of you who are entrepreneurs who want to be, those of you who are, maybe you need a little insight, you know, and so that's why we brought Lance on here for today. And so I welcome to you all, Lance Jones. Hey, Lance, how are you?
Good morning. Happy to be here. Very excited about being here with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Just have a few questions for you today. What businesses do you currently own, or have you been involved in?
Okay, well, I am currently an owner operator with McDonald's franchise in the Chicago market. I've been doing that probably for about 16 years. I also have interest in other e-commerce business. I'm a FedEx contractor, and we have 5 routes in Chicago, and we're working on additional 5 routes with route family members in the Mississippi area. And we're also working on one other deal in Indianapolis to pick up about 17 P&D routes.
Wow. Okay. And so how did you start being a McDonald's owner? How did you start that? And your other business, the FedEx one too.
Okay, well, my background in McDonald's, how I really started McDonald's, my background was in restaurants. I had previously worked for many years for different corporations that were in the restaurant industry. The one initial, just before I got into McDonald's, I was with Starbucks Coffee Company. And I had an opportunity to actually go to a baseball game with some of the corporate members of McDonald's. And we got to talking, and he started telling me about opportunities with franchising with McDonald's. And at that time, it was the right time to really look at getting into McDonald's if you had the financial viability to do it. They were looking for expanding their franchise model at that time. So I went from there, spoke with the gentleman, set up meetings to talk to them, because for a while I had been looking to stop working for people. I really got tired of using my talents for other people getting rich. So I really was looking at different opportunities at that time. And when McDonald's came to me and started speaking, brought up a conversation where I later had meetings with the vice president of operations, vice president of franchise operation, another vice president. And I guess they were impressed with my background. And so from there, we started talking about the requirements to get in, and the financial requirements and other requirements that were necessary to get in McDonald's. And so I went through that process. Probably 4 or 6 months later, I was able to get started in the training program. The training program usually about 18 months to 2 years. I was able to complete it in a year because of my background. It was a little bit easier for me. And that was my beginning there. So as far as with the e-commerce, that was later, not too long ago, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And I had myself and one of our cousins also was attending a youth conference, a church youth conference, and we had met with a broker who was able to get us with the right people for FedEx. Right now, it is a good opportunity, especially for African Americans, getting in the FedEx areas. And we spoke with him. We identified what was necessary, and we decided to do it. And so far, it's been extremely well for us. Been doing extremely well for us.
Also, you said something that was so important I never thought about. You said that you had some knowledge of the restaurant business, and the scripture came to mind that my people perish for lack of knowledge. You already had knowledge of the restaurant business, and so it seemed like it was easier for you to flourish in that area, so that you could be successful. It said normally it took you like a year to complete it, but normally it takes how long?
Usually 18 months to 2 years.
18 months, 2 years, yeah. But you had knowledge of it. And so I think that's very important, that you really have to have knowledge of what you're doing. And so I think that's key. And so did you have to have, by being McDonald's, did you have to have like your own business plan, like, budgeting and payroll and all that kind of stuff, and how much it costs for supplies and all that? Did you have to do that on your own?
Yes, a business plan was required to submit in order to get into the McDonald's operations. My business plan did talk about financial controls, employee retention, recruitment of employees, recruitment of management,
Mm.
and also a pro forma on anticipating how I can grow the business over a 3-year period. They wanted to see um, some type of growth and some type of growth, not only in top line sales, but also in bottom line profit. So it was, I put it all together. Um, and as you stated earlier, it was not as difficult because I had been in the industry, so I knew the trends, I knew what the opportunities were, and the expectations of both cash flow and sales. So it was easier. Mhm.
And I will, that's great. I would like to add, for those of you who have businesses, I think that was key, really developing that plan. Okay, I'm going to start a sweet potato pie business, but how am I going to grow it? How am I going to get employees? A lot of times we don't think about future. We just kind of think about, I'm just going to make these pies and I'm going to sell them and I'm going to make money. But where do you see yourself in, 2 years, 3 years? Anything can happen, especially do you want to, have multiple locations? And do you have the one particular location? Do you have multiple McDonald's locations, Lance?
Currently, I have 3 locations on the Chicago South Side
Amen.
um, that I had actually in process of downsizing over the last couple of years. I had a total of 8 locations, 4 in Northwest Indiana and 4 on the South Side of Chicago. And they were all doing well for me, but different parts of my personal life and where I wanted to be and where I have gotten, sometimes you don't want to continue on with having a lot of locations. Is not in, I won't say it's definitely not an easy business. Anytime you're dealing with people, you have your challenges there. And I just felt at that time I didn't need the additional headaches of trying to run 8 locations.
Right. No, that's understandable. And so, when we're talking about that with dealing with people, how do you develop a good team? I think you talked about the recruitment of employees. I think is very important for great customer service. I'm really big on that customer service. So, how did you come up with building a team? Maybe managerial or employees. How do you come up with that idea?
Well, in the initial time period, I looked at experience. I went out and recruited different ways through just open interviews, also through advertising for management. And that's the way through my interviews and looking at experience and also looking at personality of the people. A lot of times that's in customer service that you talked about. That's one of the most key things that you look for in people is how they relate with others. What's their attitude? Do they have a serving attitude? And you really need that in restaurant business. Unfortunately, we don't always get that, but that's something you strive to get. People who enjoy working with other people who enjoy being around other people. It's extremely important. It's key to your business, and it's definitely will help your business grow when you're kind of talking about McDonald's. Because we do a lot of local store marketing. We do a lot of different events with both schools, with both churches, and community community. I would say different organizations. We want to work with them because that is really the base of your business.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's good. And in talking about that, what in the business area, what are some mistakes, kind of looking back on it, what are some mistakes you could have avoided?
Well, prior to McDonald's, I was in a previous business, more of a local business. And I would say one of the big mistakes I made, I was an officer of the company. I was vice president of operations during this time period. It was a smaller chain, and we had about 30, 35 locations. And this was early in my business career. And being an officer, I had fiduciary responsibility for the company, even though I may not have had direct responsibility of that. And a big mistake I made was not signing the checks and not having full access to uh, some of the requirements from a tax standpoint, from uh, what the business was required to do, both state, local, and national from a tax standpoint. The other business person did some things that were incorrect as far as in handling the business, and it cost me quite a bit of money. And that was a very good lesson for me. I learned it early. I probably lost a little bit under, slightly right around $100,000, but that was okay because it taught me so much. It gave me so much experience about moving forward and making sure that anything that I'm involved in, I have to make sure that I have full access to the financials. I control who gets paid, who doesn't get paid, and I'm making sure I know, have full knowledge of all bills and taxes being paid. That was the biggest mistake I made. I would say the other mistake I made is starting too late. I wish I had started early. You know, it's a lot of young people that are have very creative ideas. They're very excited about starting their own business, and I wholeheartedly recommend they do that once they identify that that's what they want to do. I probably should have started 10 years earlier.
Wow. No, that's good. You're right, because when you were talking, I was thinking about Tony Braxton. She did an interview years ago, and that was her thing. She wasn't signing checks. She didn't know what was going out, what was coming in. And a lot of times, you trust people to handle stuff.
That's
Um,
correct.
and a lot of times, even sometimes as leaders, there are employees that are saying, well, you always micromanaging. Oh, that's not it. We just want to make sure your name is on this stuff. And so when your name is on it, you want to make sure things are being handled. And so you're right. A lot of times we trust people too much. We need to trust them, but you also need to know what's going on in the long run. And that's so key about starting too late. I think, and I was thinking about our two oldest ones who are now, out of high school, but they probably need in high schools need to teach more curriculum on how to start a business. Really getting these young people, okay, make sure you do this at the state level and do this at the federal level, then getting your, your EIN number, all that kind of stuff, getting a CPA, how to balance a ledger, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, but you're right, that is so key. Our two youngest ones are interested in business ideas, and so we really try to encourage that. And so that
That is
that is
great.
key. Thank you so much. That's key. I don't know. It's a lot of work on parents, Lance. Let me tell you. But no more than we could chew. But let me ask you this. And so, well, let me ask you this, because you say you had multiple McDonald's and then you started downsizing. What was your,
Yeah.
um, for those who have a business and, hey, it's not where I want it to be. When do you know when to fold in the towel on a certain business?
Well, my reasons and rationale for downsizing was not because the businesses were not doing well. It's just, well, that could be one of the reasons you do that, but my reasons was also at what, where are you in your life? Where are you as far as what do you want to do with the balance of your life? My family was financially fine at that time. I didn't need all the additional monies that were generated through the additional McDonald's. But what I value more is having more time for myself, for my family, for my church, and that was more important. So it's all really what is important for you. At the time, yeah, it was good to have the multiple locations. It was fun doing it for a period of time, but if you're in McDonald's and different businesses, at certain times in your life, you're going to say, okay, this is enough. And when you decide this is enough, and not only that, but also with financial gains, at certain times it's good to sell. Also, you McDonald's is involved when you purchase and sell McDonald's is done on cash flow multiples. Depending on where it is, it might be a good time to sell. And so that's what I felt. And I did at the time. I'm happy I did it.
And so, in saying that, what are some, I guess, some hard choices that you had to make to get to where you are? I know you talked about with employees, really trusting people with the finances. We talked about that. But what are some hard choices that you had to make? Did you have to fire some people? Did you have to let some people go? Did you have to take some things off the menu? I don't know. What are some hard choices you had to make?
Well, some of the initial hard choices I had to make personally was leaving my previous job. I had a pretty good position with the previous company I was with, and was I willing to take that chance to become an entrepreneur, even though I was doing well where I was at? And I really had to look at what I wanted long term in life, and that was one of the hard choices I made, and it was a good choice. I'm glad I did that. In regards to hard choices in the business itself, unfortunately, the turnover rate in restaurants is very high. It's over 120%. And this year, unfortunately, climbing. But so you always want to give people opportunities. You always want to give them the ability to be successful with your business. At times, they make the decision through their actions on if you're going to keep them or not going to keep them. Those are hard choices sometimes with some members of your team. Other ones are not hard because you identify that this is not really what they want to do, and they're not giving the efforts in order to make your business successful. Through the years, I've been in it for quite some time, so I've probably hired and fired thousands. So it becomes just a part of the business. You always want to see people who are successful, or you always want to see people who give them the opportunities where they take McDonald's, which sometimes is a means to an end, and go to much higher places in their life. I now have had members of my team who have started with me either in crew or went on to management. Now they're in management. I have some that are in mid management for me who are doing well financially. But I also have people who started there, went to college, did McDonald's while in college because we have scholarships that help them during that time period. And I come back and I see them sometimes, and they're CPAs, they're business people. I have one that's now a doctor that used to work with me about 15 years ago. So those are rewards of knowing that you have helped in some small way people get to their goals also.
That is awesome. Yeah, and so on that, you talked about how the turnover rate is so high. Is it higher now than it has been because of the COVID and all that? Is the turnover rate higher?
It is probably the most challenging times we've ever had.
Wow.
As you probably see, if you're a person that looks at different social media and everything, different things where you see signage. I saw this the other day as someone sent to me, because I'm not big on social media, but they sent somewhere where it was on a reader board, we're closed because all the employees quit. It was at a competitor's, but it happens with us too. We have more challenges with people than we've ever had. The reasons behind it are not clear. I think some are, it's several factors in my opinion. Part of it is COVID and the reservations people have with being in the public. I still, some people still have reservations on being out there with the way you used to be, and they're not comfortable with doing that. Part of it is a lot of people lost their jobs during that time period, and when they're trying to get back, even though jobs are available, They're having challenges with childcare and different opportunities of are they able to work, but they have the kids at home and so forth like that. And then some of it is the money that the government has given to people. They look at it and weigh their options. You know, maybe it's better for me to just stay at home instead of working and more financially viable at this time. So yeah, it's different things that happen.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. So are there any problems that you're trying, I know we talked about the employee retention of turnover. Are there any problems that you're trying to solve currently? I know as business owners, you're always putting out fires, I like to say. But is there anything that that you see, I guess even a problem that's constantly reoccurring, anything that you're trying to solve currently, and then how are you trying to manage that or fix that?
Um, with the McDonald's piece, it's you're an entrepreneur, but you are an entrepreneur with a vast backing, heavy hitter with McDonald's being honestly the number one restaurant chain in the world. With that, we have we have great deal more support when it comes to challenges that may occur with us. So honestly, the biggest challenge I have and all of us have right now is employee retention and turnover. The other challenges we have, we're able to work through that because of the size of McDonald's.
Mm. And that's something you really can't control as far as you can't control somebody quitting or somebody not
No,
wanting to work. I have noticed a lot. It's everywhere we go. I think on every street in front of most businesses. We went to Atlanta the other day, and
mhm,
everybody's hiring. It's like I've
yes,
never seen so many hiring signs. It's just in front of everybody, every place. And so I think you're right. I think COVID has done something. Of course, I don't know about there, but the COVID numbers are starting to creep up here in
mhm,
Alabama, and
yeah,
so now we've got to run into that. Okay, is it gonna are things gonna shut down again? And so
yeah,
let me ask you this, 'cause I know you have a backing with McDonald's, and I often hear that a lot
mhm,
of times in order to obtain a chain, and I'm speaking more of people who are starting from the ground up. How do you suggest people get that startup money that's needed? Because it does require, getting those documents you need. Some, of course, for a church, we, had to get bylaws, and then we had to get articles of incorporation. We had to send stuff off to the state, and that cost. So how do you suggest people? And there are some people who, they work their full-time job to help fund their side hustle until they can get their side hustle into a full-fledged business. And so I've heard certain people do that as well. Got to hire an attorney. We have attorneys too, just in case we need one. So how do you suggest people get their startup money, or how did you get it, or did you need it?
you definitely needed it with McDonald's. You needed it, and I agree. A lot of things you do is once you identify your plan, once you identify what you want to do in life, as far as from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's when you start planning. I don't know how many years it may take, different amount of years for each person, depending on the requirements financially. But you want to make sure that when you start the business, you're financially viable. And one way is through working a full-time job while getting your ideas and creating your business plan and creating your business kind of at the same time that you're working full time. Other ways to get it, once you get to a certain point, there are different opportunities, especially right now. People are interested in getting their own business. I would highly recommend doing it right now. Government is very friendly with entrepreneurship and African American owned business currently right now. It is more money out there. I have a friend who has been in the business, and he's a he's a kind of big deal person. He works with he worked met with the Congressional Black Caucus. He He does and starts business throughout the US. And he stated that it has never been a better time for African Americans to get into business. It is grants out there, it is SBA loans out there. It is a perfect time to really start if this is what you want to do.
You're right, and you're so right about that. I can't tell you, especially last year, I was getting so many emails from people, hey, this SBA loan is available. Of course,
Yeah.
you always got to read the fine print on everything. But yeah, there's monies out there, and so if people want to start a business, of course, you get some great information, some great points. And I like, we really got to have goals. A lot of times we have an idea, but the idea is the vehicle. We need some goals that's going to give it some gas. We need a business
Mhm.
plan. It's not just, hey, I have this good product. Okay, and I need to have employees. I need to think about a hiring system. I need to think about, okay, when we have issues, okay, you need an attorney. If you're in partnership, we have a good friend of ours, Katrina Brown. She's an attorney, and she talked about those things. If you're in partnership with somebody, you need to have one of those agreements before y'all get into an argument, so that when you get into that argument, hey, this is what needs to happen if we have to fold it. This is going to be your share, this is going to be my share, all that good stuff. And so you really brought out some good points. Even recognizing problems. I like that. How to build a great team. A team can demolish your organization just as quick as it can build it up. And so you got to have those gatekeepers, we like to call them, great gatekeepers who are at the front of your organization, who are going to help you to grow it and not to turn customers away. And so, Lance, do you have any other advice that you would give people who are starting, who want to be entrepreneurs?
I would say really one thing is important is develop a good business plan. When you're talking about, you would mention it about a little bit, and one thing uh, kind of digress a little bit, but even like you said, when you're starting a new business and you have partnership, it's very important to have everything and all the paperwork and all the agreements together. Our FedEx business, that's a family-owned business where um, it's different members of our family. It's family, but yet and still, we paid our attorneys. We have an agreement. So, like you stated, if anything ever happens, we leave as friends. We're still family members, I should say. We start at one place, and if it's ever any challenges where we decide to dissolve the business, we dissolve it the way we started it, the way we agreed at the beginning. My son is in business himself, and he's about to open his third restaurant, and they have a partnership agreement. They have everything. That's the one thing I learned to make sure I told him, don't do the mistakes I did many, many years ago. So that helped in that situation. But as far as now, I'll get back to as far as your team and everything and how to build it. And then I would say the you want to have members of your team that bring something to your business. Everybody has different areas of expertise, and I'll utilize this in our FedEx Ground. I have a cousin who's really good uh, from a technology standpoint. He's very good from computerized, and he handles a lot of that. So more of the back office. I handle more of the face-to-face meetings with people and actually working with the FedEx corporate people along with the working with our drivers and everything. So really, I would say build a team that with everybody that brings something to the party. Somebody who's going to add additional um, support and able to add uh, additional areas of needs for your business. I don't know what your business may be, but if you're going to go into a partnership or if you're going to, even if it's your own, but you're building your team underneath you, make sure they bring something that you may not have. So um, you don't need a clone of yourself because I mean, it doesn't help you, but uh, if you're able to bring people with different ideas that will help build your business, I would recommend try to search for those type of people.
That's so good, Lance. Man, you know, a lot of times, and I'm thinking about the American Gangster movie with Denzel. Man, the biggest
Mhm.
mistake, and you want to employ family, you really do, but it's not about, you know, hey, we're cousins. You know, it's about the fact that, you know, do you have a skill that can better the business? You know, okay, we have a daughter. She helps. She's a journalist major, but she helps with our social media and she knows how to proof and she has a good eye for that. And so you need people. So, I mean, we would not have her on team if, you know, if we didn't think that she could do it, but she does a great job at it. But you're right, you need people who don't have the same skill that you have. And that is so key. That is so important. Great. That's awesome. Great information. You know, it's not about, hey, this is my cousin, this is my brother, we some kin. No, what do you have? And don't be offended if I say, you know what, maybe not at this time, or, you know, why don't we use you in this area over here? You know, if you really, you know, really want to employ 'em. But that's great. I like how you're even shifting the same idea to your children, teaching them entrepreneurship. And so that's what we have to do as a community. We need to, if we have this information, we have this knowledge, we need to share with our children. And like you said, teach them to be entrepreneurs as well. So, so that
Yeah.
was great. And so, Lance, we are about to close. I'm going to
Okay.
share an announcement screen, and then I want
Mhm.
you to just come back and finish up just with a few comments, some ending comments, or maybe of even people who are interested in starting a business. You know how they can be successful. You can kind of recap it if you want to, but I'm gonna have you do that in just a few minutes as soon as we get through
Okay.
with this.
Sure.
Um, all right, so thank you, everyone. Of course, you are listening and you have been listening to Lance Jones. He is an entrepreneur in Chicago, has several McDonald's, has e-commerce trade company. And so he's been giving some great advice on that. And so thank you for watching. Of course, this is the year. Our theme for Birmingham Bible Church is Reconstruction 21. And so, as always, we are believing God that He can reconstruct everything in your life as well as your business. So, believing God for you for that as well. And then we are streaming on several social outlets. We are on YouTube under BHAM BC. Please hit the subscribe button. We are on Facebook, Birmingham Bible Church, formerly known as the Church of the Way International. And then we are on Twitter at TCOWI.org. And you can find us also on Instagram at BHAMBC. And if you would like to look at all of our announcements that we have going on at BBC, please download our app. It is the My Sunday app. Simply go to your app store, download My Sunday, which is one word, and then you can locate Birmingham Bible Church, and you will be able to get all the notifications and see all the announcements that we have going on. If you would like to receive text messages from Birmingham Bible Church, simply text BBCWW to 94253. That's text BBCWW to 94253. And you can receive inspirational messages and announcements as well. If you like to be a part of our free, and I say free, business directory, please go to our website at bhambc.org. You will simply scroll at the bottom, locate business directory, click on that, and then you can key in your business because you are not only on the church's website, but you automatically go to a Christian database of over 50,000 businesses. So this is a great way to market your business as well. And then we are in the midst of Summer in the Psalm series with Pastor Mason. Please tune in every Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. on all of our social media channels. Don't forget, we are on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. We also have children's virtual service at 10 o'clock a.m. prior to that. If you desire that Zoom ID information, please contact Lady Pam at TCOWI.org. And then, of course, you have heard from Lance Jones on today, owning your own business, what that entails. Please go back and listen to all of our speakers who presented this entire month. We are out there, so all you have to do is go back and listen to it. Some great information has gone forth, not only for this month, but for previous months and previous years. You can go look at that as well. And then on the 31st, on Saturday at 10 a.m., we are having our virtual Back to School and Excellence rally. So we have this every year. We have topics for every facet of people who are going back to school, for parents, for teachers, administrations. And so you want to make sure you are looking at this information on July 31st at 10 a.m. That's on a Saturday. Of course, the following Sunday, we are giving out school supplies at our drive up service. That is the first Sunday in August. And so we really want to bless all of the teachers, all of the students with free supplies. We have put that information out there on what is needed. So please plan to contribute. You can bring those items, of course, to church on Sunday. And that weekend we'll need volunteers to help stuff. So of course you all have already received notification on that. So please make sure you help support and also pray for this endeavor as well. And then, of course, we have a lot of virtual hangouts that are going on. Please make sure you're looking at your newsletter, you're looking at the app and all the things that are going on. Our small groups will begin on a Saturday. That is the new time and the new day on Saturday, 10 a.m., August the 14th. Our new curriculum is going to be Taming Your Tongue. That is so needed. We need to know how to tame that thing that can get us in trouble every time. And then, of course, our prayer room call is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m. That number is 515-604-9324, and the access code is 381179. Of course, if you want information on all of these announcements, you can also go to our website at bhambc.org. Thank you so much, guys, and have a great week. Well, Lance, thank you so much. This has been a great segment. I have really enjoyed this, really learned a lot. And I know our viewers have as well. Can you give us some final points, some final tips, what we need to do to be successful?
Yes, I would try to do that, but I have to say I'm so proud of you and my younger cousin Jimmy and everything you're doing. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I know the people of Birmingham are so happy that you were there with them and supporting them. I had to say that real quick, but anyway.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, I mean, it's excellent. I definitely got to see some more of this. But some of the things and recommendations I would do is, one, take the time to research what you are interested in doing. Uh, Try to speak with others that may be in the field of your interest that you're trying to start your business in. Try to get as much knowledge as you possibly can prior to doing it. Network as often as you can. That's a big opportunity for gaining more knowledge, gaining more growth. Utilize programs such as this to try to get different ideals and get different information, not only from myself, obviously, but you guys do this all the time. So you have all type of experts in different fields that can help support someone starting their business. And most importantly, as we do with our family business, which is the FedEx Ground, um, Jimmy's uncle and they're also involved, some of them uh, ask for guidance, pray. Nothing can be done without the Lord leading your steps, in my opinion. And regardless what business it is, it's important that you ask for guidance and pray, and it always will help.
Amen. You're right. People do not go out there half cocked. You've got to do your research. You got to get your knowledge on the product, on how to do it. And you're right. Speak to other people. A lot of times we have this crab mentality. We want to do well, but we don't want others to do well. And that should not be. I think Black Wall Street. I love the fact how the community. We came together, we pulled together, and we pulled our resources together, and to make sure that everybody were winners. And so this is Winning Wednesday, y'all. So we got to make sure that all of us are winners in whatever area that we are in. So thank you so much, Lance. I appreciate you coming
Thank you
on.
for
We
inviting me.
appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much. And we will definitely pray for you, and please pray for us as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too now. Bye now.
Bye-bye.